Behind me is the iMac with the M3 chip, and this is a product that actually launched not too long ago. In this video, we're going to talk about the actual downfall of the iMac. So before we start this video, I just want to say thank you to all of you tuning into the channel today. I want to say also thank you to all the new subscribers. There's just so many of you, and it's kind of hard to keep up, but I'm honestly truly grateful, and it's a real blessing. Today, we're going to talk about the iMac. I've had the M3 iMac for a little bit. It's just been kind of running through the apps, just been kind of going through everything. I want to say that the iMac has been kind of in a downfall. So with the last few iterations of the iMac, we actually saw a nice improvement and a shift in the design. We saw this new colorful kind of vibe. It still has that initial footprint that the iMac has always had, and I think that's great, and something has been relatively consistent down the line with the iMacs. But there is a few features, a few details, things and specs that have changed across the board, whether it's this one or the last generation or the new generation, which includes this particular design. And I just think overall that the iMac started here and now it's just kind of going like this, but it's not going in a straight line. It's going in a straighter line that's going kind of downward. So it's declining in some way. Let me explain. I have been an avid iMac user for a long time. Now, I've had an iMac for as long as I can remember. My first computer was actually an iMac. It was the 2007 iMac, and I've had that computer. I've kept it as a nostalgia piece, and it's somewhere over in my other room. But I've used that computer, and it was a fantastic computer. Now, it definitely didn't keep up with the times. I've had that computer when it was clearly out of date, and I really had to upgrade down the line. But when I used it, and when it was still a little bit good for that little remainder of time, I really enjoyed using the iMac. It was something that I found beautiful. It's something that for me, the iMac, especially coming from Apple, I really thought it was one of their more stable pieces. We all wanted iMacs. I remember as a kid, I wanted an iMac. Everyone wanted an iMac. When I finally got my dad's old iMac and he got a new one, I was super excited to start working on videos, just start working on anything really. Just using the iMac was a beautiful, just really nice experience. But nowadays with the iMac, it almost feels like you're not really getting that same experience anymore. As for me personally, I review tech and I go through a lot of products on a day-to-day basis or on a weekly basis, call it whatever you want. Unboxing this iMac, getting it out, plugging it in, and getting on basically the iMac has been just a little bit underwhelming. Although I've been able to find some utility, I've had these attachments for the iMac that you can actually use on a lot of stuff, and they're so convenient because you can store so many things on them. I've used this one on top of the iMac. It is this little shelf. You clip it on kind of to a monitor, to the iMac, to anything. It is super easy to install. I've also had this laptop stand that has been very useful. It allowed me to create a different kind of workflow. So sometimes I have the iMac, I'm working on it. I have a couple of things that you'll see on the shelf. Then I can store my MacBook. Sometimes I come back from work outside. I just come home, store the laptop. It's there. You can use it as a little stand for your laptop. You can also hook it up to a monitor. It's really easy. You just take it out, put it back in, super easy. So if you guys are interested in these products, thank you Sodi for sponsoring the video. I'll leave a link in the description down below. You guys can check them out. Make sure to use my code to save some money. Now, why do I say underwhelming? It's just a few factors. I'm going to start off by saying that the overall design, the refresh, this new colorful kind of nice thin form factor is not exactly great. I personally think it looks kind of fruity. It's not exactly appealing. It just really feels like they took that whole flavor, that whole spice that the iMac used to have. I really want to point out the previous iMac, which were the kind of the beefier ones. So they had the 21.5 inch and the 27.9 inch, I think, those two bigger displays, and those were beautiful. They had a really nice matte finish. They had the silver at the front, they had the black border, silver, thick black edges around the screen. That was a beautiful iMac. It just was so pristine. I thought that personally that iMac was beautiful. Then they had the Mac Pro, which was a fully black iMac, which was even better. And I think that was the last iMac that actually was impressive, that was really appealing. It's just, it looked like a powerhouse and you wanted it. With this iMac, you don't really want it. I mean, sure, it has a beautiful 4.5K inch display, which is great. It actually is beautiful. Any content creation and consumption, Netflix, YouTube, whatever the case may be, any of those things, it looks beautiful. I won't lie, I'm not going to put up a front. It is beautiful. It's fantastic. But I think that's about the first and last thing that's good about this iMac. So without denying the fact that the screen is actually beautiful, amazing, performant, I really have to point out how we keep getting less and less with the iMac. And that's just something, I don't know if that's something that Apple's particularly doing, or it's just something that they've kind of opted for in terms of the iMac and the box and everything, but we're slowly going downhill with the products inside of the Mac. So obviously the iMac doesn't run without a keyboard and a mouse. It is a fully built-in computer with a screen, so that's great, but you need peripherals. The peripherals seem to downgrade every single time. Now, the last iteration, we had the smart wireless keyboard that had a fingerprint for Touch ID as an option to log in the computer, but now we don't have it anymore. They took that out of the keyboard. So yes, the keyboard is still good, but with this new keyboard, they took out the fingerprint ID, which I don't know why they did that. Now, another thing I have to point out, the atrocious Magic Mouse. I honestly can't stand behind the Magic Mouse. It is not only horrible, it is so bad. First of all, the battery on this thing is rather average compared to like a mouse of the caliber of the MX Master 3. It just doesn't stand a chance. The battery life on this one is just pretty average. But battery life aside, you can charge the device. It's not that much of an issue. The actual usage and the performance and just how you interact with the mouse, it's horrible. It's so flat. It has no ergonomic design. It is just, I don't know why they still make the Magic Mouse. I think we collectively as techies, we need to start a poll. We need to start doing something about this. Please, let's just exterminate the Magic Mouse because it's just horrible. I'm going to leave that there. Now, the overall design is not so bad in all of its glory. Sure, there are some things that I personally don't like, but I think overall from an objective perspective, it isn't all that bad. Sure, the colorways, that's just a personal choice. You can just obviously stick to the regular white silver combination, or maybe just get one of the ones that's a little less flashy. So maybe the blue one. Every other color is very flashy, so expect to be in hands with a colorful iMac. If you're willing to put all the colors and all of these little things to the side and just really look at the machine for its power and its capacities, it is powerful, it is good, but then again, I feel like this M3 chip and this iMac, while I was using it, it's been a little bit shy of great. I've tried numerous things. I've also tried, I don't know why, don't ask me, don't flame me in the comments. It's probably going to be a very stupid thing for me to say, but I've tried gaming on this. Just wasn't it. Don't game. If you guys were considering buying the iMac to game, or just to on the occasional moment you want to hop on a game, maybe on Steam or something, just don't bother. It is not made for gaming. You can't really game on this thing. The M3 chip inside is powerful. It is pretty good. It handles tasks relatively well. So there's been instances where I've just opened a YouTube page and then I would open another Safari page just to browse something. And then I would maybe open, I don't know, a third tab or something, and I would leave the YouTube video running, and then I would be on the Safari page and Googling something, or for this instance, I would have another Amazon page because I'd be looking up some products for the channel. And just operating those three tabs, I feel like sometimes it was kind of glitchy. It was stuttering a little bit. The performance was kind of slowing at moments, or there was spikes in terms of the consistency of it. And I just don't know why, because the M3 chip is very powerful and it is very capable. And I just don't know why. It's just been a little bit underwhelming. Now, that's just been a situation that I ran into. I think overall the performance of the M3 still stays rather consistent for the most part. Also, there is some things that I need to point out. It's very important for you to notice or to understand the fact that you can't have the perfect machine unless you also opt for better specs. Surely nowadays, we had an issue with the M2 chip when it first came out in the MacBook Air. It wasn't really optimized for 8 gigs of RAM, and this computer specifically has 8 gigs of RAM and the M3 chip. I think this might also be the case this time around, and you would definitely have to upgrade. If you would ask me, my personal recommendation is definitely upgrade to that extra amount of RAM. 16 gigs of RAM should technically be the new norm nowadays. It is very hard for machines to still run on 8. They can do so, and some of them do really well, but personally for a workflow like mine, it's just a little bit impossible to work with 8 gigs of RAM. Just not enough memory in there, just not enough capacity. So I would definitely recommend to upgrading to at least 16 gigs of RAM, and in that case you might find yourself in a position to operate with this thing a lot better. Now, following up on the note of upgrading pieces and specs inside, I definitely don't recommend upgrading the storage. Storage from Apple just costs so much money, and it is so pricey for kind of nothing. They just charge you a lot for that, when in reality it's just not that expensive. You want more storage, I would say just get the default version, or just upgrade it one notch up, and from there on just buy external storages, SSDs on Amazon. They are so affordable. It is very easy for you guys to get your hands on some SSDs there. And I know in this video I kind of took a rather negative approach to the iMac, but it's not all that bad. Now, I will admit there are some good things about the iMac. It is not all that bad. It is very lightweight. This thing feels super light. It almost has the same weight as a MacBook Pro, which is very, very crazy. It's super lightweight. It's very nice. The design and the polishing on the finish is great. I can't complain about that. It feels sturdy. It feels premium. The back of the iMac also feels really nice and smooth. It's clean. It definitely doesn't take up as much space as other iMacs in the past. So definitely in terms of portability, size, and implementation into your current setup, this definitely will fit in real smooth. I definitely don't see how it would cause a problem. And now it also comes with a 4.5K display, which is very amazing. It is beyond 4K and almost touching the 5K, so you will definitely be able to crush any kind of content, any kind of content creation on this. If you want to create high quality shorts, high quality reels, high quality YouTube videos, if you're just a photographer or anything, you can handle a very good amount of workload on this and have a lot of accuracy when it comes to color correction, just overall checking the shadows, the highlights, and everything on the corners of an image or a video for that matter. So for a content creator perspective, this is a great machine. It kind of is an all-in-one. That's always been the case with the iMac. It's an all-in-one. You just buy it once, and it has the keyboard, the mouse, the screen. This one also has an upgraded 1080p FaceTime HD camera, which is good. It is nice, holds up well, definitely nice. I don't find myself using the webcam on the computer that much, and you can buy so many good webcams on Amazon, just ones that you plug in. You know, there's 4K ones for quite literally just $100. So that's something that's not necessarily a selling point for the iMac. It is nice that it's a part of it, but it's just not all that amazing. Speaker wise, it is still pretty good. It holds up really well. Now on that note, I do want to end the video by saying, dear Apple, please bring back the iMac in its glory. I love the iMac, and I'm a little bit disappointed. Not necessarily disappointed, but rather heartbroken by the fact that it just kind of seems that you are kind of leaving this computer behind in the shadows. And it's just sad because the iMac is really a beautiful machine and is one of the first machines that put Apple on the map. So please, Apple, bring back the iMac in all of its glory. We would love to see a close to bezel-less iMac, full black frame, so a nice dark silver, dark gray, space gray, even black for that matter. Bring a nice, well polished Mac, and please get rid of the Magic Mouse. And I will be, myself included, and so many others in the tech world would be so happy to see that. But let me know what you think of the iMac in the comment section down below. Am I the only one who thinks that it kind of just went downhill over the time, especially in the last few iterations, which they haven't been so apart from each other? Let me know. I'm really curious to see what you guys think in the comment section down below. Also, different format for this video. Kind of had this big mic in front of me the whole time. Kind of little open discussion with you guys. Let me know if you enjoyed it. I'm trying to include more templates on the videos and in the channel. Thank you again for watching this video. Let me know what you think. All that being said, I wish you the best of luck in everything you do, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Deuces.